Hey guys, Abitha here. I really just wanted to update you guys. I literally just started Slewfoot. First of all, this is beautiful. And even the side. Well, me moving it like that probably isn't helping. There's like a certain texture that I really like about like these books. I'm on page 7. There's so many things I'm already thinking about, but also there's artwork pages in here. I know that Brahm does like a lot of illustrations, and I really want to get the Krampus book just because it's so pretty. It's gorgeous. I love this type of style. I follow Brahm on Instagram and all the artwork is just, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Also, there's this boy. He's so cute. I got him at Target. He was like $6. This big boy right here. I haven't named him yet, and it's been a while since I got him, so if you guys have any name suggestions, let me know down below. Okay, I'm literally on page 6, and there's so many dots. We're following so far the main character. Her name is Abitha. This is back in the ye olden days when like around like Salem witch trial type of era. She's trying to find her goat because her goat ran into the creepy forest. She's reflecting on her life as she's going through this forest. We find out that she's barely 20 and that she got married at age 17, but she got married off. So her dad actually sold her at age 17. She had to go on a boat. She was in London, and then she had to move over to, you know, I'm gonna be real, I don't know where she's at now, but she was originally in London, then she moved. Right now she's like running into this creepy forest, and she gets like stuck in the icy mud, and she's reflecting. She's like, what is my life, y'all? Why did this happen to me? She said that her dad sold her for a handful of coins. A handful of coins. Your daughter is only worth a few coins, just a little bit of change. It's giving that one scene from SpongeBob where like the Flying Dutchman is trying to buy SpongeBob from Mr. Krabs, and the Flying Dutchman is like, I'll give you whatever money I have in my pocket for SpongeBob, and Mr. Krabs is like, deal, and it's like a few dimes and like a piece of lint or something. I don't know, it was like a ridiculous amount, like a penny or something. But that's kind of what I was thinking. I wanted to read some stuff to you guys. Keeps reading like the ad that was for brides. What they're looking for is virtuous, obedient young woman, fair of face and complexion, shapely figure, good upbringing from pious, well-mannered house. That's crazy. First of all, she's a child, so this is like really messed up, and she's being sold off. But just for a second, if that wasn't even the case, I feel like this is kind of one of those like Tinder bios, and you're like looking for something serious. The Pam to my gym or whatever. This, I don't know why, like why is this funny? Is this supposed to be funny? I think that whoever, because she doesn't even know who the guy is that she's being sold off to. She's just randomly being shipped away as a bride, and while she's on the boat, she's like, man, my husband's gonna be so disappointed because I'm nothing like whatever they're looking for in this description. Oh, she's in New Haven. And she guessed shapely meant something else to the man who penned this ditty because her scrappy figure had rarely turned the head of any man she noticed. As it became real, she found herself sure her new husband would turn her away on sight. But if Edward had been surprised, so had she, as Edward wasn't all she'd hoped. He was a fair-looking man, maybe even handsome, about 10 years her senior, dark wavy hair, but he had a sway back, a hunch that caused him to walk with a stoop. If Edward had been disappointed, he never let on, greeting her upon arrival with a timid smile. Then after an awkward handshake and a brief businesslike introduction, he plucked up her only bag and led her to his mule-drawn wagon, taking her away to her new life. And here I be, she thought, digging frozen mud out from my boots and chasing a stupid goat into the deep, dark wilderness. I feel so bad for Abitha. I feel so bad for her. She's so disappointed. Like, she's getting sold off for a handful of coins. He's not even, like, first of all, he's old. He's 27, 37. She's a child, but either way, like, that's still messed up. And so bad, like, she's like, he's not even cute. He's not even like, my wife. He's just like, hello, how do you do? I don't know, like, what is happening? What is happening? I haven't really read, like, fan fiction growing up, but I know, like, a lot of people did, and there's that whole meme with, like, the One Directioners, like, Phantom, where it's like, oh, you wake up and you realize that your mom sold you to One Direction or something. I know it's bad, but that's just what it's, like, giving right now. The writing and, like, the language is kind of, like, ye old, so at first I'm like, oh, I'm probably gonna have a hard time getting into the writing style, but no, it's fine, and it's really funny. It's funny to me right now. I don't know. I hope that was kind of the goal, is what I'm trying to say. But if not, I don't care. I'm still having a good time. That's my update for Slewfoot. Bye. Y'all, I'm literally on page 17. But I just want to say, I hate Wallace. I hate Wallace so much. Oh my god, I'm so mad. You know, I don't want to defend Edward, Abitha's husband. I also don't really like him either. Edward needs to get it together, but at the same time, considering the time period and the culture of, you know, women only kind of just being there and not talking or anything, you know, Edward, it's a bare minimum, but Edward does not hurt Abitha and tries to make sure she's not being punished by the government or his older brother, Wallace. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Wallace is Edward's older brother, and Edward is Abitha, the main character's husband. So Wallace has a lot of debts because he wanted to grow tobacco, but everyone told him that tobacco isn't going to grow in the area that he's growing it, but he's very stubborn, and so he's like, nah, I'm gonna do it anyways. And surprise, surprise, it didn't work. It's not doing well. Wallace actually ended up having to owe someone a lot of money, and instead of giving up his home, his property, he would give Edward's property as, like, to pay off the debt. He's essentially making Edward part of his problem. So Abitha's mad because she's saying that Wallace gave Edward the property because it was ugly. Like, it was bad. It was, like, falling apart. And Edward and Abitha worked really hard to make it a home. Now that it's all nice and everything, Wallace is like, oh, they're gonna like this. And Edward is just so passive and just does whatever his older brother says, I guess. He's too chill about it. But he also is upset because he's like, oh, are you sure? And Abitha, which, you know, women are not supposed to be involved in business chatter, but she's overhearing all of this and she's already in a bad mood because she lost her goat. They, like, got no food, and Wallace just shows up with his entitledness and eating all of her food and all of her mead, like their drink, and he's like, more, give me more. And Abitha's like, you're the freaking reason why we're out here starving, because you're just being a freeloader. Abitha, she didn't like what she was hearing, and she just snapped. She's like, what the heck? Like, you can't give our house away. That's our house. We worked hard for this. It's not your property. It's ours. And Wallace is like, oh my god, how dare you talk to me like that? How dare you speak at all to me? And Edward is like, hey, you gotta, like, well, apparently he, like, yells at her. He's so passive, he doesn't, like, hurt Abitha or anything, which is, like, bare minimum, but, like, for the time period, I feel like that's good. Like, he's really trying to defend her. Abitha just keeps talking. She's speaking facts, and she's upset. Like, she's visibly upset. She visibly hates Wallace. And honestly, I would be the same way, Abitha. So Abitha kind of like crossed the line with Wallace, and even Edward got upset. And Wallace threatened to go to, I guess, the government. I don't know what exactly he said. Like the council or whatever. Pretty much telling on Abitha for literally talking and being understandably upset. And so for like the council or the government or whatever to like hit her and like I guess lock her away for a while or something. And that's when Edward is like, oh, please don't please don't tell on her, like they're gonna hurt her, like I'll deal with her, like I'll punish her myself, but please. And Wallace is upset because Edward actually respects Abitha and doesn't hit her or anything, and is like, nah, I'm gonna tell because you're just out here being a pushover, like she's like manipulating you or whatever. Edward is like, please, like I'll think about what you said about my property, please just don't go to the council. Wallace is like, yeah, this is what I thought, bro, like this is why dad gave me the property and not to you. I'm just mad. Wallace is a butt. Wallace sucks. I feel so bad for Abitha. Like, I'm glad that Edward isn't Wallace, but at the same time, like, the whole thing is just so sad. Poor girl. Oh no. That's where I'm at, and so far I'm like, I'm having such a good time reading this. Yeah, I'll keep y'all updated. Okay, peace. Okay, I know I keep updating, but seriously, this is so freaking funny. Here's the situation. Abitha and Edward are now at church, and she is wearing a cap. I guess they all wear caps, and you have to have your hair all the way, like all of your hair tucked in the cap. You would imagine that her hair isn't like gelled up or whatever. Abitha is like out here stressing about the freaking farm, so she like goes to her spot all the way in the back of the church and is just praying. She's like, God, please, please. A little strand of her hair came loose from her cap, and Charity gets really mad because someone's son looks at her because she has a little hair out. Charity is like so jealous that he's looking at her, and she's like pointing at her like, you got a little loose hair. And Abitha says in her head, and I quote, Lord, you would think I'd show up with both my ditties hanging out. Both my ditties is crazy. That's so funny. I'm sorry. That's what I had to say. Okay, thank you so much. Bye. Hey y'all. So, quick update on Slewfoot. I'm on page 92 now. This isn't a spoiler because it's literally in the description of the book. Edward has died. His brother Wallace is trying to get the farm, and Abitha's like, no, I'ma run it. It's Edward's will. My dog's scratching himself, that's a noise. It's his will that I keep the farm going, so you can't take it away from me. I have to produce crop, and if I don't, then it's yours. She's like doing pretty well. And then we're introduced to the father, the demon in this story. I refer to him as the father. Oh, by the way, I feel like I'm getting sick. Here's Othello. And then that's my pan dulce, my beso. And then I have a hot chocolate as my little snack. What was I saying? Oh, so we were introduced to father. He doesn't really have any memory. He like wakes up his kids, which is like, they're referred to as Forest, River, and Sky. And they're like, oh, you're weak, you need more blood. And so they give him or lure animals and people to have him like drink the blood. Edward is gone, R.I.P. Edward. She's getting like these hauntings, like these spiders keep coming out. She sees the demon, the father, and look at how cute he is. I had literally a bag of popcorn just now, and he had popcorn. Don't worry, I gave him popcorn. We're both just wanting a bunch of snacks, I guess. What was I saying? Abitha did see the father. He was gonna go like kill her or something. Her mom had this like braid, like a cut off piece of braid, and it's like throughout the generations of like the women with their hair. So when Abitha's dad, excuse me, I'm trying to say something here, sir. When Abitha's father went to go like throw away all of his wife's stuff, like Abitha's mom's stuff, she hid the braid. She's been like using that, and like I guess it's been helping her like be protected by like the devil. She is like admiring the farm because you could see like the crops of corn. She was going to church. She saw Edward come out of like the woodworks, like out of the forest, and she was like, oh my god, Edward, is it really you? And then she sees that he has no eyes. They're just like black eye sockets. Before she enters a church, she's all disheveled. Boots are all dirty. She doesn't have a lot of time to like mend her clothes or whatever because she's so busy doing all this hardcore work. Farm core. She looks a little rough, and all the ladies of the town, they all got something to say, and they were bullying her. She came in kind of like running, and she was like stressed out because she saw like that Edward figure thing, so anyone would be spooked out. So she's like all sweaty. The women are like, oh, you look so bad, you know, if you left your house a little bit earlier you wouldn't be all sweaty running in here. And they were just like criticizing her, being like, you're making us women look bad, like mending the farm like that. I was salty. I'm like, I'm an Abitha stan. You leave my girl alone. I don't know, I'm upset for her. But after the service, Sarah, one of the characters, Sarah, she kind of yelling at Abitha, and then she's like, I need to talk to you in private. And she looks really mad, and then she like takes Abitha aside, and she tells her like, I shouldn't be telling you this, but I really admire what you're doing. You're putting in so much hard work in like doing the farm and everything, but I need to warn you that Wallace is out to get you. Like, it's not even just about the farm. Like, I don't put it past him that he will like hurt you. She tells Abitha to like carry Edward's musket with her wherever she goes, and that like Wallace has all these connections, and that Wallace is actually trying to talk to all of like the single men, like potential men that Abitha can marry, to stay away from her, threatening to like ruin the men's business because he has a lot of connections, like higher authority connections, to like ruin their business. Sarah was saying that Wallace is trying to convince the Reverend and something to like pretty much spin some logic in order for Wallace to get the farm and have Abitha become his slave. Hello, my son. Hi. Are you an Abitha stan? Sarah's just warning Abitha about that, and then Sarah gives Abitha some salted fish. Abitha is like, not only is she treating me like an actual human being and actually being nice, she's also giving me food because she knows I'm freaking starving. She was like, she like cried a little bit, and honey, and she look at him. It's almost his birthday, by the way. Oh my god, he just burped. Anyways, so I thought that was really sweet. So as of right now, we stan Sarah. Right, Othello? We stan Sarah. Okay, so I'm at a part in the book where Abitha and the father are face to face, like they're actually having a conversation, and he just wants to know who he is truly. And he says, if you help me, I will help you. And he says, do you want me to kill Wallace for you? Low-key, does father? I kinda stan. So I'm 100 pages away from finishing Slewfoot. I'm at a point where Abitha's actually doing super well in her farm, so she would actually be able to pay Wallace and way more because it's just so successful. And then Wallace does something to sabotage that, and when that happens, Wallace ends up almost killing Abitha, and so Abitha had to pull a little stunt in order to save herself. I don't want to give too much away because this is spoiler territory at this point, but she ends up pulling a little stunt. Wallace witnesses it, and so do like a few other people. They end up reporting her as a witch, so it doesn't look very good for her. And also, in my last update, I think I mentioned that there was like a demon type of thing that Abitha was like working with, and instead of the father, she ended up naming him Samson after the goat that she lost in the beginning of the book. She is confused because these things are happening with Wallace, and she's like, where's Samson? Like, I need him. I need Samson. Where did he go? Where is my friend? And there is a point where we go into Samsung's, I feel like I'm saying Samsung, like the brand, like the electronic brand, but it's Samsung, like someone's son. Anyways, so we have Samson's point of view where he actually goes to a shaman and he's trying to figure out who he is. The shaman is also really unreliable, but the shaman is showing him that he is like a demon of destruction and death and all that, and Samson doesn't want that. He wants to be a god of the forest, of nature. He's like, is there any way, like, I don't want to be like that, what can I do? And the shaman is like, you have to go into a deep sleep. And Samson's like, okay, I want that, like, I don't want to be destructive, like, is there any other way? And the shaman's like, no. So Samson's like, okay, put me in a deep sleep then. So that's where we find out why Samson isn't around. And right now I'm at the point where Abitha is in jail and they're gonna, I was gonna say teleport. They're taking her to court. So she's in her shackles and she's in the courtroom and this stuff is about to go down. But I have a bad feeling, but she is the main character, so I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. Honestly, like, it's a good book. I think it's just me personally and my feelings and how I'm feeling right now, where I'm just like, I just want to get it over with. Bye. Hey, so I finished Slewfoot. Gave it a good old 5 stars. I am glad to say I'm not the only one that thought that Samson and Abitha, they had a little bit of a something going on. I feel like, you know, if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to go into too much detail because of spoilers. I love all the scenes with Wallace and his family. You know, there was a point where, like, Samson's kids kind of annoyed me. Samson's children, I don't really like that much. Specifically Forrest. Forrest annoyed me way more. Suspicious one out of all the rest of them. But, you know, he came around at the end, I think. I think Abitha deserves a world. Abitha and Samson delivered. That's what I think. Out of all of this, pretty satisfying. I was an Abitha stan, and I'm just happy that things ended the way that they ended. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of like an anticlimactic thing to say. The pacing was good. I love the subject of it. I felt a lot of emotions, mostly anger. This is a book with like misogyny and like religion and like religious trauma and just society as a whole just being horrible with like women and women having to be put in situations and the frustrations of, you know, like hypocrisy and just like all this hate and discrimination. It's all in this book. It's all in this book. It's all in this book, and it's scary because it's so relatable to this day. It is very relatable to this day. And this is like back in the ye olden times type of situation, and it's still very prevalent in at least my life, you know, everyday type of life. I mean, that was the horror of the book, in my opinion. There was a lot of gore, especially towards the end, which honestly, like, I like horror books, and I don't really like slasher movies, but when there's gore in books, I really like that. So I don't know what's going on there, but there was a little bit of gore towards the end, and I was very satisfied with it. I really liked it. This is very much a revenge type of story, and if you're into, like, you know, witchy vibes and destroying the patriarchy, whatever, I think you would really enjoy this book. So this has been my little vlog for Slewfoot. I will be ending it here. I don't really have anything else to say. I feel like a lot of these updates happen when it's like really late, or I guess really early, like 12 a.m. or like 1 a.m. for some reason. Peak filming time, I guess, and I look exhausted all the time. I'm wrapping it up here. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. Let me know if you guys are Abitha stans or who you were rooting for. Please don't tell me it's Wallace. I'm sure Wallace is someone's favorite out there, but it wasn't your girl. Let me know if you guys are an Abitha stan. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next chapter.